I always take a deep breath, because these are not laws that it's trivial to fight. Now, if you were in America after 2001, anything that President Bush wanted to pass through was very, very obvious. Very obvious. You know, the trauma of 9/11 is something really unbearable. To this day, it's unbearable. It's the first time I came to America and didn't have to take my shoes off. But it's, you know, I've been to America so many times in 2001, and you see how it affected what America is like nowadays. It's a country of immigrants, so afraid. And I understand why completely. So, as I said, we need to make sure that we take the right decision, the right course. And it's not trivial to take the right course, because when you have to pass laws countering terror, you try to think about civil rights, you try to think about human rights, but eventually you have to think about the life of humans that you will be sparing. And that is our duty as members of Knesset.
I'm a little troubled by your statement about President Obama is extremely pro-Israel. Can you give, say, 5 examples of how he is so pro-Israel? I see it from a different lens.
Yeah. First of all, I think there is something basic about the West Wing, in its core, that is pro-Israel. I agree with you that he has been a more challenging president, but if you kind of compare him to Jimmy Carter, I think Obama is much more pro-Israel than Carter ever was. I think we saw it in Protective Edge. I think we saw it in all of the combats that Israel was going through in past years when it comes to Gaza. We always needed more equipment from America. And America was always there in that respect, so that would give us at least 3 examples. Now I'm trying to think of another 2. His statements, obviously that's most, that is most information that I can count on. But I cannot imagine any American president today, with everything that's been going on, I would say probably any American president after 2001, not being pro-Israel, not understanding what Israel has to challenge on a daily basis. What happened here in 2001 was catastrophic, but thank God it's not a daily basis. We have to counter terror on a daily, hourly basis. If I had my assistant here, Stav, she was raised in Sderot. Sderot is in the southern part of Israel, very close to Gaza. Since 2001, they were rocketed on a daily basis, having 3 seconds to find hiding. And we are trying to be as humanly possible when it comes to attacking Gaza, when they are using people as human shields. So I thought most of the time in Protective Edge, he was very much in our favor. Not all the time. I think during the previous Amudanan, Pillar of Defense.
We have wonderful names for our
Wonderful names, wonderful, exciting names. Pillar of Defense was very short, so it's not a good example, but
Kasled.
Huh?
Kasled.
Kasled. It was very, very obvious that, I remember I was very close with Ehud Barak at one point. And I remember him going into that combat, into that military action, taking action then. It was 2008 December. Since 2001, we're rocketed. 2005, the disengagement in Gaza. And I remember him I would basically remember him the night before we went into Gaza. And really, there was nothing else to do. There was nothing else to do, but I think America was standing by our side most of the time. Probably not all of the time, most of the time. After the signing of the Iran deal, Obama came immediately with a package of severance. It's like,
5 billion.
5 billion, trying to kind of give us the opportunity to, again, shield ourselves.
Well, if Iran gets 150 billion, 5 billion.
Yeah, it doesn't sound so much, doesn't sound so much.
Doesn't sound so
It'd be
much.
interesting to see what Iran gets once the sanctions are really taken off. It'd be interesting to see. Most of the time, at the moment, I mostly see Europe running, knocking on the door of Iran. So part of it is the fact that I cannot imagine any American president being against Israel. I think it's basically, it's like a job description, you know? It's in the job description. So some of them are a little bit less, some of them are a little bit more. But I don't expect my ally and my closest friend to script criticism. I don't expect that. I'm not afraid of American criticism. I'm not afraid of someone looking at what we're doing and saying, this is not okay. It doesn't affect the fact that I'm very Zionist, that I know that our place is in Israel, being a Jewish democratic country. So I was never, I'm trying to recall things that he said that were alarming. Maybe at one point a little bit. But then again, our Prime Minister was getting involved in his re-election. Very involved. So in that respect, this is like, shift of balances all the time. The relationship is very, very, it's been interesting years. It's been interesting years. I'm sorry if I haven't answered your question exactly, but I do feel that he's been supportive of Israel. By the way, he doesn't have a choice, because if he's not, I'm just going to go to the West Wing and knock on his door.
How can you have a discussion without discussing Israeli politics? There was some interesting articles, the Times of Israel, etc., that never get played here. An Israeli general was quoted in all the papers. I'd rather see